I'll take care of that for you, Jason.
Okay. We're going to wait one more minute and then we're going to get this party started.
All right. All right.
May I say something real quick then, if we're going to wait, Jason? Because this is being recorded. This is going in the Black NSA vault. And I just wanted to come on and personally thank Lethea Owens for everything that she poured into me from the beginning of day one. And Lethea, you're now the president of this organization. And I mean, I've been a member for 18 years. You're taking it to places that it just has never been before. And you're just bringing on mentors and experts and people like Dr. Dell that are just pouring into us. And this is not just, you've been president before this, or I don't know what it was called before president. I don't know. Stepping up and volunteering in the role before this. But this time, I'm telling you, I've gotten more from Black NSA with the process that you've put in place. But I just wanted to personally thank you for the 18 years of pouring into me. Me calling you at 2 a.m., can you fix my website? Me calling you at 3 a.m., can you help me with my landing page? Me calling you at 5 a.m. and said, Lord, help me with my relationship. Like, you have just always been a friend and a colleague, a professional peer. And I knew I wanted to say it on a recording so that no matter how many people in Black NSA watch this, everybody can have an opportunity just to know how giving of a spirit you are and how much you pour into us. And this session today is just the latest evidence of that.
Aww.
So I just want to say I love you again and again and again and again.
Thank you. I love you too, beloved. Oh, love it. I love my Black NSA family. And from our very first meeting, hi, my name is Lethea. How can I serve you? Now I'm still doing it today. It's just who I am. So
yes,
thank
you are,
sir. All right. Well, I want to honor. Thank you so much, Bernice, for that. I want to honor our mentor. I know you all want to get every ounce of every. I got my notebook. I'm ready. Got my pen. I'm ready. So, Jason, we're going to go ahead and turn it over to you so we can crush this. Okay.
Okay. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. We're just coming back from Scottsdale, Arizona at the Influence Conference. It was awesome, awesome, awesome. You know, I've been working with a lot of the leadership team virtually and for 2 years now. And I got a chance to meet a lot of people in person who I've been working with for the past 2 years. It was just fabulous, just fabulous. So I'm pumped up. I know a lot of people here who are on that Scottsdale, Arizona event. They're pumped up as well. So today is our mentorship call. The first Thursday of each month, we take 90 minutes, 90 solid minutes to bring in a well-renowned speaker, a well-renowned business professional, a well-renowned, in this case, an author as well. Okay, a Hall of Fame speaker, Dr. Delatorro McNeill. And, you know, I'm a member of National Sales Network, and I don't know if you remember, but years and years ago, right? You came to New York, New Jersey area, and I got a chance to meet you, get an autographed copy of your book. And it's been just a phenomenal experience being associated with Black NSA, but also just reconnecting with individuals who I've met through the years. Dr. James Smith was recently a mentor as well, also through our connection with National Sales Network. So um, everyone, you're in store for a great, great afternoon. And how it's going to go, I just want to give us a reminder. Dr. McNeill, he's going to give his speaker journey. And then he's going to give three solid tips. And then after that, the floor is going to be to you attendees to really ask some questions, gain some insight, and really just we want to make this conversational. So the more you put into it, the more Dr. Dell is going to share. So let's turn it over to Dr. Dell and let's get this party started. The floor is yours.
So what's going on, BNSA family? Dr. Delatorro in the building. A joy and an honor to be here. And listen, I am so incredibly excited about this unique opportunity. And before I jump into whatever we're going to get into today, which is going to be exciting, I do want to call out two very, very special women who have been a part of my life for a long time. One just got inducted into the National Speakers Association Speaker Hall of Fame. Vernice Fly Girl Armor in the building. Just got inducted, the 12th, y'all. This is the 12th. She is the 12th Black speaker on planet Earth to be inducted into the National Speakers Association Speaker Hall of Fame, y'all. So
love you, bro.
We have been like this in this industry for decades, and Vernice, it was a tremendous joy and honor for me to learn of your induction into the Hall of Fame. Long overdue. Very, very proud of you. Let's go. I'm honored to share this space with you, sis. We do it together. Mohawks for life. Mohawks for life. Let's go.
What?
And I'm gonna let Lethea tell this story because this is kind of powerful. It's so funny, Lethea, the full circle moment of this. How many of y'all might not know this, our illustrious, remarkable, amazing president of BNSA, Lethea Owens. Y'all, Lethea, I'm gonna let you tell the story. But many, many moons ago, I was fortunate enough to be one of Lethea's first mentors in the speaking industry. And I was very, very blessed to have the honor to mentor her and coach her at a very, very pivotal point when she was leaving her previous chapter of life and jumping into speaking. And we've had an amazing, amazing ride together. Our families have been intertwined like this for a long time. And so I was so honored when I heard that Lethea was coming on as president of Black NSA. And I knew that BNSA, to your point, Vernice, would never be the same as a result of her getting a hold of it. So Lethea, I want to honor you, acknowledge you, and celebrate you for your remarkable leadership as well. Can we give it up for Lethea Owens? Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's go. Let's go. So, all right, family, listen. So Jason, I'm still learning how you want me to flow here, you guys. So, but basically, the first thing I'm supposed to do is kind of just describe my journey. Is that what you want me to do?
Yes, give a brief synopsis of your journey.
Okay.
Give 3 solid tips that the attendees can take away, some insights, your career as a speaker, how they can improve their career as a speaker, that type of.
So I'm a 20-year member of the National Speakers Association. So I've been a member of NSA for 20 years. This year, 2025 makes 20 years I've been a member of NSA. And I'll be very honest with you guys. I'm 48 at the time of this broadcast, and I've been full-time as a speaker for 23 years. 23 years I've been full-time. So I went full-time at the age of, y'all, 25, which is pretty much unheard of, right? So when I started, I started very young. I went to Florida State University. I got my bachelor's and master's degrees in 5 years total. I got my undergraduate degree in interpersonal and speech communication with a minor in African American studies. And then I got my master's degree in something that very few people had heard of back 20 years ago, something called instructional systems design, curriculum design and development from Florida State University. So when I got my degree in curriculum design, I came out in 2000 from Florida State with a master's degree in hand. I went straight to work for corporate America. I started working for a company called Anderson Consulting, one of the big 5 global consulting firms. And I was doing organization development and training work for Anderson, but I had a desire to speak. So I was involved in my local Toastmasters club, and I was doing all the original things, right? All the Rotaries, Kiwanis, just kind of starting to get my name out there. Fortunately to me, Les Brown, the year after I finished Florida State, Les Brown came to Tampa, and he was doing a seminar in Tampa. He was doing a live keynote, the whole 9 yards. Called his office, said, "Hey, can I please come set up and serve?" So the first tip I want to give you all is, when I found what I was looking for in this industry, mentorship has been one of the greatest keys to my success in speaking. I will say that hands down with mathematical exactitude. Mentorship has been one of the greatest keys to my success. And so my first mentor outside of my mentor in college who was a gentleman by the name of Dr. Lee Jones, who had a bachelor's, 2 masters, and a PhD. He was my mentor for all 5 years in college. And when I was in college, I had a chance to meet and work with Dr. Stephen Covey. When I was in college, I had a chance to meet and work with Dr. Maya Angelou. So I had, because I was involved in BSU and all those things. So I was exposed to a lot in the speaking space, even in college. So by the time I got out and Les Brown was doing his first speaker training in Tampa, I went, I served, I showed up early, set up his table, was right there, do all the things, stayed late, helped him clean up, took him out to eat afterwards. And he said, hey, I'm doing a speaker training in Potomac Falls, Maryland at my private home. Would you like to attend? I was like, I'd love to attend. I didn't have the money to attend at the time, but I somehow found a way to put myself in the space where Les was going to be. And when I got to that event, it was like a 2.5-day mastermind. I did the training there. And then on day 2 of the training, Willie Jolly with hair walks in. And the reason why I say Willie Jolly with hair is because we know him as Dr. Willie Jolly now, who is bald. But back then, Willie Jolly, before his PhD, had hair, and it was a nice little fro. And he walked in, and the camaraderie and the banter between these two legends, in my mind, was like unbelievable, because you could clearly tell the friendship. And I'm like, I'm home, I'm here. I started bawling, crying at the dining room table because I saw my destiny right in front of my face. And I'm like, man, this is touchable. This is reachable. So I did what they told me to do. They told me to go to the National Speakers Association. They told me to compete in every Toastmaster. They said, talk to everybody. So I came back home. I started implementing everything that I was taught. And then I went to my first NSA convention, and I walked the lobby. This is a true story, y'all. I didn't have a lanyard. I didn't have a badge. I didn't have nothing, right? So I walked the lobby of my first NSA convention. Lethea, come on, let's go, right? I had on a suit. My brother was sharp, but when I tell you I was not registered, my brother ain't have a lanyard. I ain't have a badge.
Yo, that's the hallway hustle, bro. The hallway hustle.
Man, right? It was the hallway hustle. I didn't go into any paid sessions. I didn't go into any of I didn't go to see the exhibitors. I just walked the lobby. And in 5 minutes, I met Zig Ziglar. 10 minutes, Stedman Graham. 15 minutes, Mark Victor Hansen and Jack Canfield. 20 minutes, Dr. Janet Lapp. 25 minutes in, I met Patricia Fripp. 30 minutes in, I was like, I just kept Jeffrey Gitomer and all these people, and Larry Wynn. I'm like, Brian Tracy. I'm like, and everybody walking around with no entourage, no posse, no personal videographers behind them. It was just a room of people who wanted to learn and grow. And I was like, man, I'm home. People whose books I've read for years, they're just walking around chilling, sharing best practices, sharing ideas. First thing that Mark Victor Hansen said to me is he said, I want you to learn how to pick a niche and grow rich. He said, what have you done a good job at? I said, sir, I'm so young. I said, I'm trying to enter the speaking space, but I'm so young. He said, what have you done a good job at? I said, I did a good job at college. He said, okay, cool. Why don't you go around and teach people how to do what you did in college? In fact, I got a good friend of mine. His name's James Malinchek. I'm going to call him. You need to go to James's boot camp and learn how to speak at colleges. So I was like, all right, well, I just paid all this money to Les. He's like, I don't care what you paid Les. You need to go speak at colleges. So I'm like, all right, dope. So I'm investing, y'all. I am investing, right? And one of the things that blows my mind about when people want to grow and develop in speaking, but they don't want to invest to learn, it amazes me. I'll ask speaker groups, say, how many of you guys want to make 10K a speech? Every hand goes up. I said, how many of y'all are willing to invest 10K to learn how to be good enough to charge 10K a speech? 99% of the hands go down. And it amazes me how people say, okay, that's too much to invest. And I help people understand this all the time. Anytime you say a certain dollar amount is too much to invest, there's two sides to every coin. The law of duality, the law of polarity states that what goes up must come down. As long as there is left, there is right. As long as there is high, there is low, right? So every time you say that it's too much to invest, you're also saying it's too much to generate. I'm going to say that slower. Every time you push back on something and say, oh, that's too much to invest, the same energy that says it's too much to invest, 5K, 10K, 15K, 20K, is also repelling the ability for you to generate that same revenue. So one of the greatest lessons I learned early was I needed to invest in myself and bet on myself and believe in myself. Now, I'm not talking about frivolously just throwing money at things without putting the work ethic behind it. That's not at all what I'm talking about. But at the end of the day, the truth is, if you want to get to be where you really want to be, it's going to take investing to learn from the best. And the best aren't just going to sit down and open up their whole vault and give you everything without you making investments to get close enough to learn. So that's one of the things that I began to do. I started making the investments to learn. So I went out to James Malinchek in Vegas, sat down, spent a day and a half with him. He taught me the college market. So I said, okay, boom. And I decided to start marketing myself to colleges and universities. So I spent the first 6 years, Jason, of my speaking career speaking exclusively to colleges and universities. So I guess my first tip was, instead of just coming out into the industry saying, I want to talk to everybody and anybody, I picked a niche. I picked an area of focus. Now watch this. I'm going to encourage you to niche 3 times. Write this down, family. And that's what I did. I niched 3 times. When I started in this space, I didn't want to just go. So everybody do me a favor. If you're taking notes, I didn't do all of it. Draw a triangle and then draw 2 lines in between to split the triangle into a bottom third, middle third, and upper third. So do that for me. Draw a triangle on your paper and then do 2 lines. So you have a lower third, a middle third, and a top third. I'm gonna teach you something that Mark Victor Hansen taught me. It was powerful. It changed my whole life. He said, I want you to understand that the riches are in the niches. And he said, I want you to niche 3 times. And so I was like, all right, dope. What do you mean by niche 3 times? He said, okay, cool. He said, so you did a good job in school, right? I said, yes. Yeah. So he said, cool. Do you want to speak in the educational space, right? I said, sure. He said, cool. That's your first niche. You're in the educational space. Put that at the base of the triangle. So I was like, dope, educational space. Awesome. He said, so now you're not trying to market to corporations and associations and conventions. Right now, you're trying to reach everybody in the educational space. I'm like, dope, I get it. He said, but do you want to talk to elementary schools? Do you want to talk to preschools? Do you want to talk to high schoolers? I said, absolutely not. He said, cool. So we have to niche again, because you don't want to really just be in the educational space. You want to be within a niche within the educational space. So you want to talk to colleges and universities? I said, yes. He said, great. That's your second niche. I was like, oh, dope. This is getting sweet, right? And he said, but guess what? Even in the college and university system, there are so many departments and there are so many different ways you can generate revenue. There's a many different audiences you can speak to. He said, so tell me a little bit more about what you did in college. I said, well, I was a student leader. He was like, ding, 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 ding. That's your third niche. He said, I want you to go all across the country and I want you to become one of the most popular speakers speaking to student leaders on college campuses all across the country. And that's what I did, y'all. For the first 6 years of my speaking career, I spoke exclusively to colleges and universities all across America, and I became one of the top 4 best college campus speakers in America, speaking at colleges and universities. And I was making, at that point, I don't do all the pineapple stuff. So I was making at that time between $2,000 and $3,500 a keynote, speaking at colleges and universities. But guess what? I had also written a book by that time to the college and university market. Now, all of a sudden, people are buying the book. Schools are buying the book as required reading for freshman orientation. So what I did was I decided to go speak to the same students that I was. So I spoke for New Student Orientation. I spoke for Greek Life, even though I wasn't Greek. I spoke for BSU groups. I spoke for all residence life, all these different departments that within the university system. So I learned how to get into a niche, like the university niche, and then spread like a virus within that niche. Orientation, Greek life, BSU, all the different departments. Does that make sense? So that's the second lesson, is once I found a niche, I said, okay, let me spread like a virus within that niche. And then I was going to conferences and I was going to cities, and I'd speak at a school, and I said, okay, while I'm there, why don't I speak at 2 or 3 other schools while I was in the same city? And that taught me how to do what's called block booking. So if you're going to go to a city, try to maximize while you're there. See if you can do it. So in 2025 language, what that looks like is, hey, if you're going to go to New York, instead of just going to New York to do your one gig, right? See what other business is in New York that you can take advantage of, right? How can you set up a photo shoot while you're in New York? How can you be on 3 different top podcasters shows while you're in New York, right? See how you can get on a morning show while you're in New York. See how you can shoot some new content for a new online course while you're in New York. So leverage block booking. So when you go somewhere, you kind of sop it up like a biscuit. You maximize the time while you're there. So that was another huge skill that I learned in the educational space when I was speaking at colleges and universities, that momentum was important, and to block book yourself as much as possible when you go into a city, to take as much advantage of that opportunity while you're there as possible. So started out in the college market, did that, rocked that, and then slowly began to start to brand myself a little bit more for corporations as I, watch this family, watch this, as I began to believe enough in the gift that I could go into a different lane. Now, I want to say that a little bit differently. here's the truth, y'all. At the end of the day, I was so young, right? So one of the things that I had to overcome, there were several things I had to overcome as a Black speaker, as a young Black speaker. If you're young, Black, and you could put two words together, they automatically pigeonhole you to the church. So it was one of those things where, I had to make sure that when I got on stage, I was not just pigeonholed as someone who was gifted and anointed to talk. So he should be preaching, but if he doesn't want to go to seminary, he's going to use speaking as a different route. That was not my call. My call was to the marketplace. My call was to the business arena. I knew that. So I wanted to make sure that when I got on stage, people took my content seriously. And with a master's degree in curriculum design, 3 points in a poem just didn't do it for Dr. Delatorro. I needed depth. I needed substance. I don't know how to do anything shallow. If I do a 90-second reel on Instagram, it's going to be deep. Right? I don't know how to do. Lethea has told me this for 20 years. She says, Dr. Delatorro, she said, your middle name, I know your middle name is Levon. I'm giving away personal information. My middle name is Levon. Don't judge me. But she says, if I could replace your middle name. My story. Lethea says this to me she's told this to me for decades. She's like, Doc, if I could replace your middle name, I would replace it with the word excellence. She said, because that's really who you are. She was like, everything that you've ever done, you do it with a spirit of quality and excellence. And I want to say this to every one of y'all, and I'll put this in the comments if y'all don't mind. Be excellent at your level. Write that down for me, family. Be excellent at your level. And here's what I mean by that. So many times, y'all, we, right, yeah, I'm allergic to the shallow end of the pool. Come on, somebody, let's go. We drowned in the shallow end. Let's get it. One of my really close friends said that. She said, listen, we drowned in shallow stuff. I don't know how to do shallow well, right? All I do is, if it's not deep, if it's not transformational, it's not excellence, I'm not interested, right? So I want to encourage every one of you all, as you're on your journey, be excellent at your level. What does excellent at your level look like? Here's what excellence at your level looks like. If all you got is $500, make your website the best $500 website you can make it. Make $50,000 in speaking fees from that $500 website, then get you a $1,000 website. Come on, somebody. And let's make $100,000 off of that $1,000 website. Be excellent at your level, right? Stop looking at people who've been doing it 40 years and being mad that you're not at that level yet. Allow yourself to grow, allow yourself to build, allow yourself to mature, allow yourself to evolve into better versions of yourself and higher versions of yourself. Because if you skip steps, right? And that's what we tend to do. We try to skip the line and kind of get to the front. But remember, every time you skip the line, and listen, I'm the king of that. If we go into the theme park, I'm paying to skip the line. I'm paying for the pass that lets me go on the roller coaster. Come on, Fernice. I want to go on the roller coaster 3 times in a row. And then I want the people who've been waiting in line in the humidity mad to burn a hole in the side of my head while I walk right past them to the front. So if you skip steps, fam, you got to pay a price, right? It's a metaphor, but you get the joke. So my point is, fam, don't skip steps when it comes to your career, right? Do the diligence, do the work. Just because you can write a book in ChatGPT in a weekend doesn't mean you should. It's quiet in the building. Y'all are mad at me. See, you invited the wrong one. Jakari, why didn't you tell them? Why didn't you warn them? Listen, y'all, greatness takes time. I get it and I understand that everybody wants it tomorrow, right? But there's a reason why certain recipes taste better in the oven than they do in the microwave. I'll wait for 10 of y'all to catch that. Here's the truth, and every mother that's watching can relate to what I'm about to say. Certain things take time. You cannot produce a baby in 1 month by getting 9 women pregnant. I don't care what your cheat code is. Some things, Lethea, you better come off mute because they didn't mess with the wrong one today. You see what I'm saying? Some things, I don't care what your cheat code is, some things, come on somebody, take time. And you got to be willing to invest that time. Jay-Z said this, excellence is our ability to perform at an extremely high level over a long period of time. It's not fly by night. It's not here today, gone tomorrow. It's can I be excellent over a long period of time? So what am I trying to say to you? I'm not saying don't use chat. I love all the things, the chats, all the AIs. I love all the hacks and all the tools. But family, let's use the hacks and tools to be excellent at our level. Does that make sense? And to continue to show up and continue to put ourselves in different spaces. Can I tell you a couple of things that we did that I feel like set us apart in the speaking industry young and early? Number one, I made sure I put myself in front of groups that didn't look like me, right? here's the truth. It's easy for us to be in front of groups that will give us the amen, because that's what we're used to. It's easy to be in front of groups that will give us a certain response, because that's what we're used to. So we tend to, in our speaking careers, we tend to gravitate more towards, and if this is blessing y'all's life, I need y'all to fire off in the comments. I need y'all to explode in the comments to let Dr. D know that this is resonating with you. Because I'm just going off of stream of consciousness, what the Holy Spirit is downloading to me. I'm just giving it to you. But I want you all to really, really come on, Lethea, right? But I need y'all to embrace the fact that I need you to get in front of different groups of people. I need you to speak in front of a lot of different types of groups, because it's going to sharpen you as a speaker. If all you speak to are people that look like you, come from your same background, you need to be in front of people. See, you might be in front of people that can relate to Martin references, or What's Happening references, or Sanford and Son references. But I need you to speak to people who you need to learn some Seinfeld in order to talk to them. Come on, somebody. You need to know a little bit about Matlock to talk to that group. You know, I'm going way back. See, I'm a 77 cat. I was raised on the Thundercats, the Smurfs, Boys II Men. Can I get 10 of y'all? Come on, somebody. Right. So you got to be able to code switch. That's right. So I want you to get in front of different groups of audiences, because it's going to sharpen you as a speaker. It's going to make you 10 times better to be able to pull examples and metaphors and references from all different types of places. Read personal development books, read the Word, read philosophy, read psychology, right? Pull from different places, because that makes you a more complete speaker, a more complete communicator, so that way you can have references that so many people can relate to outside of just your current purview. So that's a huge one, right? So mentorship early, niching early, getting in front of a lot of different types of audiences early in my career, sitting under my mentor, Dr. Willie Jolly, Les Brown, I sat under them and I did what they told me to do. And whenever and half the advice they gave me didn't make sense to me when I heard it. It was counterintuitive to me, but I still did it. I sat my butt down and I sat under someone who could teach me, who could show me, who could cut on me. Does that make sense? And I think that's really important. So even for me, like when I started training speakers, because y'all at the time of this broadcast, I have officially have through my speaker training programs over the years who are now certified speaking professionals. And in fact, one of my top students, Ken Hartley, just got his CSP the first time he went to the NSA convention last year. So his first visit to the NSA convention, he walked across the stage as a CSP. Tell me that's not gangster. Come on, somebody. That's powerful. That's powerful. Why? Because he had, well, people say, well, how could he do that? He had years and years of speaking. So I was able to show him how to take all those years of speaking, put that on his CSP application when he joined, and then boom, literally his first full year in NSA membership, he walked across the stage as a CSP. So I share that with you to help you understand something powerful. At the end of the day, family, we have to constantly work on developing our skill and our gift and our talent. You got to constantly work on your speaking, constantly work on your craft. Put yourself in front of different audiences. I love being in front of corporate audiences and young youth-oriented audiences and association audiences and ministry audiences and audiences with a military background or a military affiliation. I love the cross-sectionality. I love the intersectionality of talking to different groups of speakers, different groups and different audiences, because it's made me better as a speaker. It's made me better as a communicator, and it allowed me to get into corporate doors and association doors and this and that and the other and grow and build and scale. So I just want to admonish you, if you're really, really serious about this journey and really doing it at the highest level, you want to make sure that, number one, you're investing in learning from the best. If you say, listen, when it's time for me to invest in my speaking career, I ask myself 4 questions. Anytime it's time for me to invest in my speaking career, can I teach y'all the 4 questions? This is just, I'm stream of consciousness. Is this all right, y'all? Can I teach you the 4 questions that I ask anytime it's time to make an investment in my speaking career? And it's going to bless your life. Watch this. The first question I ask myself is, does this person have a body of work that I respect? Write that question down for me. When it's time for me to invest in my speaking career, I ask these 4 questions. Does this person have a body of work that I respect? So I look for people who have a body of work in the speaking industry and the speaking profession that I could admonish, I could admire, and I could respect. So when I looked at my own career, when I'm looking at it through a 2025 lens, I've delivered over 4,500 paid talks all around the world. I'm one of the few speakers to ever be on the main platform of the $1 Million Roundtable, not once, not twice, not 3 times. Come on, Vernice, you know how hard it is. 4 times. If you get MDRT once in your career, Lethea, tell them, if you get it once in your career, it's like the Oscars. because they vet over 650 speakers for 17 spots on the main platform for the $1 Million Roundtable. So if you get it once in your career, it's a Hall of Fame moment. We've been fortunate to do the $1 Million Roundtable 4 times, y'all. God is good. Come on, somebody. To be on the Today Show eight times without a PR firm, 8 times without a PR firm. Come on, family. Come on, BNSA. Come off mute. You can make some noise. Come on, somebody. Does this make sense? I'm not saying this to impress you. I'm saying this to impress you. The importance of the investments that were poured in. Dr. Maya Angelou, before she passed, poured her life, poured her DNA into me. Dr. Miles Monroe poured into me. My foremothers and forefathers poured into me. So I come from a place of pouring back, giving back, coming from a place of depth. Come on, y'all. Coming from a place of substance. Y'all feel what I'm saying? So I think it's really important. If we're going to be out here and doing this, y'all, let's represent the ancestors well. Let's represent our foremothers and our forefathers who came before us. And let's make the investments knowing that we're going to get it back 1 million times over. Does that make sense? Let's go back to those 4 questions. Number 1, does this person have a body of work that I respect? Number 2, does this person have a proven path to develop me? See, and here's why number 2 is going to save you a lot of money as you invest in coaches and mentors. I know a lot of people who are great on stage, but they cannot teach. They're not anointed to train. They're not anointed to mentor. And there is a massive difference between someone who's got the skill to be amazing on stage and someone who has the anointing to transfer that skill by how they teach. Can I get 3 of y'all to come off mute and say, oh, that's me? Come on, somebody. Does that make sense? Is this resonating? Can 3 face bars let me put you in the building?
Oh, yeah.
Holla at your boy up in here. So number 2, does this person have a proven path? Do they have something that they've created, a program, a course, a certification, something that they can take me through that's going to transfer the learning? Right? Question number 3, this is a personal one. Will I do the work? Because many of us blame the coach and blame the mentor, but the problem was our work ethic. We didn't implement what they taught. It's quiet in the building. I'll get 3. I'll wait for 3 of y'all to shout on that one. Come on, somebody.
That part.
Right there.
Yes,
right?
facts.
So it's amazing how quick we are to blame the course or the mentor or the coach or the mastermind, but we didn't do the work. So question number 3 is, will I do the work? And here's a caveat to question number 3. Is this person someone that I respect enough to do the work they assign? I'm a clap for because here's the truth, y'all. Here's the truth, Jason. We do the work based upon the respect we have for the person that assigned it.
I'm tracking. I'm so tracking.
Very true.
So watch this. 2 people can tell you the same thing. One person you don't respect, guess what? You ain't gonna do it. Somebody else come back and tell you the exact same thing. You're like, oh my God, it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. What's the difference? It's the anointing that you respect. It's the person's voice that you respect. I call it the distance anointing, right? We all know this, especially those of us as parents. We could tell our kids 10,000 things, 10,000 times. Some guest speaker at their school comes in and tells them one thing, same thing we've been telling them 20 years. And because they respect that person or that internet sensation, now they believe that more than what it is that we've been selling the whole time. It's the distance anointing. It's the distance factor. We've seen it 1 million times. So my friend, sit under people who you will respect enough to implement what it is that they tell you to do. So will I do the work? And is this someone whose voice I respect enough to execute? Who's the voice in your life? BNSA. When you hear, you have to have a voice. Listen to me, family. You have to have a voice that you trust, a voice that when you hear the voice, the tonality, the timbre, the lilt of that voice counts in your life. When I hear Dr. Miles Monroe, just hearing his voice, I don't even listen to what he's saying, but when I hear his voice, it does something to me. Might not do nothing for you, does something to me. When I hear Tony Robbins' voice, it does something for me. Might not do nothing for you, and that's cool, but it does something for me. When I hear Lethea's voice, when I hear Dr. Willie Jolly's voice, it does something for me. Might not do nothing for you, that's cool. You got to find the voice that when you hear it, it's like a tuning fork for your ear. That's when you know you found your mentor. That's when you know you found your coach. That's when you know you found your sage. That's when you know you found your person. And when you find that person, follow that person. Question number 3, will I do the work? Is this someone who I will respect enough to execute on what they teach me? Last question, question number 4. This is the money question. In NSA, we call it pineapples. I say it, I'm just direct, so I don't do all the pineapple stuff. Hear me out, family. How many gigs at my ideal fee do I need to replace the investment? How many gigs at my ideal fee do I need to replace the investment? That's the 4th question. How many gigs at my ideal fee do I need to replace the investment? So let's just say I'm making $2,500 a speech right now as a speaker, or $5,000, right? And I need to make a $20,000 investment in my speaking career. I run through those 4 questions, and then I say, okay, cool. So if I have to make a $20,000 investment in my career, and I'm making $5,000 a speech now, 4 keynotes gives me my revenue back. And that doesn't include product sales, back of the room sales. That doesn't include all the online stuff. That's just the money from the fee. 4 talks at my ideal fee pays for the investment. And I've got the learning, the knowledge, the information for the rest of my life. Does that make sense? To make money off of these concepts over and over and over and over. Those are only 4 questions I ever ask when it's time to make investments. And over the years, I've invested over and over and over, and I find the people who have the answers that I need, and I invest in their mentoring, I invest in their coaching, I invest in their accountability to stay on the cutting edge. So many moons ago, I created a course called Crush the Stage. It's one of the top speaker training programs in the country. It's a 4-day experience. It's a deep dive. You spend 48 hours with me putting you in a headlock for 4 days, and I help you become one of the best speakers you can possibly become. And I run that program once a quarter every year. I've been running it once a quarter every year for the last 12 years. And I love to work with the best and help them become better. And like I said, I have officially mentored 15 speakers in NSA who are CSP level speakers in NSA, and they credit Crush the Stage and programs like it for helping to scale them and take them to that next level. So Jason, that's a little bit about the journey, champ. About how we've done what we've done and some of the things that we've been able to do to some of the keys along the journey. Has that been helpful? Is that along the lines of what you was looking for?
That was right on time. Right on time. Let's give it up. Let's give it up. Right on time. Oh, wow. I've been taking notes. I've been looking at the chat. The chat has just been fabulous. Everyone's been just collaborating, just getting the information, and we're going to now turn it over to the attendees. And I see Lethia's hand is up, and get your questions. Dr. Dell, he's ready to answer. He's provided us a wealth of knowledge already, but I'm sure he's got more that's pertinent to you and your interests. So we're going to go to Lethia, and you could either put your hand up or just, reach out in the chat that you want to ask a question. I see Bernice's hand up also. Go on, Lethia.
Thank you, Jason. Dale, when you were at the beginning, my audio was not working well, so I was trying to switch to my phone while you were talking. So I want to just tell the story real briefly, but I wanted to just share that, when I first started speaking, everybody kept telling me, you need to be mentored by Les Brown. You need to be mentored by Les Brown. And I only had a finite amount of money I think $20K is what I started my business with. And when I was looking at what it would cost to work with Les and get this much of his time, someone who was in an audience that I spoke at told me about this young, on-fire cat named Delatorro McNeill. And so when I looked him up, I was like, OMG, just the way he had laid out everything. I was like, I want to talk to this guy. So I think he pulled over on the side of the road to have that conversation with me. When I called him, he said, well, I'm going to pull my car over for a moment to have this conversation with you. And we talked, and he poured into me, and I decided to go to his boot camp. And I cannot tell you the spirit of excellence that was in that program and on this man just totally blew me away. I don't think I'd ever seen a person operate with that level of excellence and intentionality and integrity before, and it was just a blessing to be mentored and coached by him. And it was so crazy because he was younger than me, right? And all the while, I kept hearing the Holy Spirit say, shut up and listen. shut up and listen. And I'm like, this young 30-year-old cat, like what, And I think at the time he had already built a $300,000 speaking business. And I said, well, that's a lot more than what I've earned, so I need to shut up and I need to listen. And I remember Dale gave us the challenge of creating a product at that event. And I did. And I remember a week later being at my closet with my clothes being the buffer and my little Radio Shack digital recorder recording my first CD. And that CD, I made over $85,000 with that CD. And I was so green, but took action, did everything Dale said. I was so green, I didn't know that I wasn't supposed to put the prayer of salvation at the end of my business CD. But at the end of the CD, I had the prayer of salvation, and I still sold $85,000 worth of CDs to the corporate arena. But the key was being in action and respecting the mentor enough to do what he said. And that's what I had to do. And Dale, based on something that you said number 3, am I willing to do the work? I also want to just preface that it's also important to do the work the way the mentor said. Because sometimes we'll want to do the work, but we put our little 2 cents and our little spin on it. And by the time we get it done, it don't look nothing like what the mentor said to do. So I think it was important to not only do what you said, but to do it in the order that you said and to do exactly what you said. And those actions have produced the greatest results for me. So I just want to thank you for just pouring into me and allowing me to, later pour into you, and for you to just really allow me to even come back and serve at Crush the Stage and be a support to you. So just thank you for your journey and for pouring along the way.
Amen. Absolutely. And I wasn't able to be an influence this year, but one of my students who just graduated Crush the Stage last year got 5 minutes on the main platform, her first time at Influence. So Natalie Parker is one of my students. She just went through Crush the Stage last year and literally was texting me it's like, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is insane. This is so I'm so proud of her.
But the preparation, Dale.
You see what I'm saying?
We have to acknowledge that it's hard to say, I'll step up on that big stage and do this thing when we're not prepared. But being at Crush the Stage, I'm sure it gave her a level of confidence to raise her hand and to show up in a way that we know will definitely benefit our business.
Show up and shine. Absolutely. And y'all, this is what it's about. I've had the honor of watching Lethea over the decades continue to grow and develop and morph and continue to add value and serve. I've seen that so much with Vernice and so many of us that are here, Jakar, so many others. Y'all, so I just want to encourage you to keep showing up, keep adding value, keep doing things that change the game, right? And what I mean by that is like every year, your business should be shifting, changing, and evolving. You should be doing something new and something different to set yourself apart, right? What's going to be that big thing? So for 2025, one of my big things, it has been my weight loss journey, my wellness journey. So for the last 4 months, I've gone on an incredible wellness journey. I've dropped 51 pounds in the last 4 months. My whole body is transformed. I've lost 5 inches in my neck, 7 inches in my waist. I've literally aged backwards. And that was just a commitment that I made. Last year, I got a certification in neuroscience, right? So I am constantly doing things to grow and evolve my life, grow and evolve my thinking, grow and evolve myself, right? As a father, right? Leading in my family. These things are important to me. So, and that shows up in how you deliver on stage. It shows up on how you deliver on social media. So I just want to encourage you to be someone who's constantly growing and evolving your own life. And don't be stingy with your pour. Write that down, family. Don't be stingy with your pour. And here's what that means. I've spoken to over 25 NSA chapters. I remember when Lethea was the president of the St. Louis chapter of NSA, and the nanosecond she said, hey, I need you to come to my chapter, it was a yes before she could finish the question. Came, served, added value. People came and people ended up registering for Crush the Stage as a result of me coming and speaking at her chapter and And so we've added value to each other's lives for years. And that's what it's about, family. It's about being the kind of individual. So constantly, be the kind of person who once you learn it and God blesses you to achieve something, don't be stingy with your pour. Pour heavy. Give people coaching, give people wisdom, give people advice, give people ideas, right? right? When you've achieved something, go start teaching what it is that you achieved so that other people can learn how to do it too. Add back to BNSA, add back to NSA overall, keep showing up at the meetings, keep showing up. If you can't make the annual conference, go to the winner. If you can't make the winner, go to the, but find a way to put your face in the space the best way that you can. I couldn't make influence this year, but I knew I could make this. So add value where you can, when you can. Show up. My father's been in the hospital for 2.5 years. So I'm in a deep caregiving season. My dad was in the hospital when I got inducted into the Hall of Fame. My dad was in the hospital when I was keynoting at the same influence. He's the same dude from 2 years ago is still in the hospital. So I'm in a very deep caregiving season at this particular point in my life. And that makes it a little bit more challenging, right? So I have to embrace the season that I'm in, but I'm still constantly evolving myself, changing myself, cultivating myself, and taking myself to that next level. And I want to encourage and admonish you all to do the same. No matter what's going on in your life, thrive through your storms. We had 2 choices. Storms in our life are going to come. We got to make a decision. Am I going to just survive the storm, or am I going to thrive through the storm? Does that make sense? Am I just going to make it through whatever is tough, or am I going to thrive as I make it through whatever's tough? Right?
Absolutely. Adversity stands in our way almost every day.
Absolutely.
How we deal with adversity.
Yep. Life's not about waiting for storms to pass. It's about learning how to dance in the rain. So we have to learn how to dance in the middle of our tough time, dance in the middle of things that are difficult. When you get to the end of that rope, tie a knot in the end of that rope and hold on just a little bit longer. I want to say this to you also, while we're just kind of having this conversation about your pour, right? Find ways to pour into other people. Find ways to teach what you know. Find ways to share what it is that God's given you to be able to add value, whether it's on social media, whether it is through your the lead generating things that you do, whether it's whatever, even as you're leveraging Talkadot, right, and things like that. Whatever you give your audiences in that QR code, give them something of significant value. Don't just give them no Cracker Jack, right? I call it the bourbon chicken phenomenon. Yeah, we've all been to the food court and we was heading to Chick-fil-A, right? But somebody said, "Oh, you want like a piece of bourbon chicken, right?" And you hungry that particular day, and it's got a little char and that little juice on it. Vernice is too much of a Hall of Famer to relate to the bourbon chicken phenomenon, but
you stupid.
Can I get
I tear that chicken up, tore that chicken up, and then you feel guilty walking away, but then you really want the bourbon chicken too. So
you see what I'm saying?
I bought it.
Right. So we're competitors going to somebody else, but someone offers us something for free on a toothpick, and it's good, and they're in our way. And next thing you know, you're getting a 2 meat vegetable side, you're getting the cabbage, you get the whole, you're like, I was supposed to get something else. You end up getting something from the plate. Why? It's the bourbon chicken phenomenon. You put something in front of someone for free and it's of good value. So I want to admonish you, when you're giving away things to your audiences, when you're giving away things in your lead capture, when you're giving away things in your ManyChat or your Talkadot or your QR codes, give things away that are of great value. Because when people see value and they got great value for free, they're going to want to invest with you at deeper levels. And no matter what level someone invests with you, whether it's a $20 book or them listening to your podcast, it should be excellent. They should meet excellence at every level of your customer ecosystem, your customer journey, your customer ascension, whatever path your customers go on, let them meet excellence at every one of those paths.
Outstanding. So I know we have 2 people with their hand raised. Vernice was first, and then Jakara. If you have a question.
I do.
Yes.
Hey, Dr. Dell. My question is, during this time, how have you continued to crush the stage and get your corporate engagements? You don't talk about DEI, but corporations could easily see you as a Black man, right?
Right.
Yes, they do. So what are you doing to counter what's happening right now, especially for speakers who are trying to get into the market?
Right. So what we're doing right now is just, so in this industry, you have to constantly rebrand, right? So I'm literally in the rebrand right now. I just did a brand new photo shoot 3 weeks ago because of the wellness journey. So now we're refreshing everything. We're refreshing the one sheet. We're refreshing the website. We're refreshing the promo video. So we're in the middle of a refresh right now to let people know, hey, this is the new and improved. This is Dr. Delatorro 2.0 Oh, right. So we're doing a rebrand right now. And like I said, I've never been in the DEI space. One of my best friends in the world, we talk 5 times a day, 5 times a week. Dr. Shirley Davis, who's right here in Tampa with me, she is, right. So that's been her lane for a long time, killing it, crushing it. But for me, what we do for our corporate clients is we've been focusing mostly on helping them make the shifts. We've been helping them focus mainly on the peak performance elements of what we teach and talk about. So I have not really been lumped into the space of, oh, well, we're not going to bring in Dr. Delatorro because he's a Black speaker. And that's another thing that's really important. Oh, Lord. I think it's vitally important, y'all, that while we are ethnic communicators, our message needs to be so profoundly powerful that that's not all they see. They get the message. It just so happens to be packaged in an ethnic package. Does that make sense? So when Dr. Delatorro is on stage, yeah, while I might be an African-American man, I'm not an African-American man delivering this message on peak performance. I'm a peak performance expert who also by happenstance happens to be African-American. Does that make sense?
And if I may,
please.
And I apologize for interrupting, and I have seen some of the keynotes that I would win all day long, not get booked for.
Right.
So in this moment, I'm like I actually had a client say, well, the optics, right. So I agree with the be so good they can't ignore you.
Right.
And there's the real stuff out here too. So please.
No, you're exactly
continue.
Right. And here's the truth, sis. We don't know, right? We don't know to what extent people didn't choose us for that reason specifically, right? So, and certainly, I'm glad you had someone bold enough to say optics. I haven't had that specific experience, but that doesn't mean that they didn't say it behind closed doors. Right. So we have to, like you said, we got to be so good that we cannot be denied, and we have to diversify, right? Here's what that means. We're at the, those of us who are veteran in this space, we're at the fee level now where you can't rely 100% on that keynote, right? The keynote is the commercial, and we have to have other areas of the ecosystem, right? Our online courses, our communities that we build, right? Our apps, all these other tools, masterminds and coaching. You got to have a variety of other things. Scripture says, cast your bread upon many waters. You don't know which one's going to prosper, this one or that one. So we have to have multiple streams of income in our speaking, so that while we're waiting for these folks to get over whatever their little DEI little hurdle is that they got going on, we still have other things going on in our businesses. Right. So for example, one of the things that I've also done over the last year was the home that I live in now here in Florida. Some of y'all might have seen this on social media. I bought it with a detached third car garage, and I literally converted my third car garage into a podcast and YouTube studio. And so now I use that to record all of my content, but I've also, now we are renting it out for other creatives to be able to use the studio as well. So that's a whole nother revenue stream that has nothing to do with me keynoting, that allows us to bring in additional revenue as well. So I think it's vitally important now more than ever before, y'all, that we think multiple streams of income, we think diversification of our speaking revenues, and we find multiple ways to bring things in. I think that's the name of the game now, but we have to constantly be staying on the cutting edge of what are the topics that again, even last year, what did I do? Not only did I build my studio, but last year, I also got a certification in neuroscience. So because through the School of Business. So now I'm adding a neuroscience layer on top of everything we're already doing. So those are the things that we're doing to stay relevant, stay on the cutting edge, and constantly keep the toolkit sharp, right? Something Bishop Jakes taught me so profoundly powerful. He said, the butcher only reaches for a sharp knife. Now, he said, God is the butcher. He said, it's not your job to fuss at God and say, God, when are you going to use it? It's your job to be a sharp knife.
That's right.
And he said, sometimes what that means is you got to be sharp in the drawer, and the drawer is closed. It's a little dark. It's a little lonely in there. He said, but while it's lonely and dark in there, spend that time rubbing yourself up against that stone, and stay a sharp knife, so that when the butcher reaches to make the cut, the butcher reaches for you.
So good.
Does that make sense? So sometimes
100%.
Sometimes in our waiting, we can be sharpening ourselves. And if I can tap on my other Hall of Fame brother real quick, Walter Bond, he said the best athletes, they get better in the off season.
That's right.
The best athletes, they don't get better during season in gameplay because they're so busy competing. But it's in the off season when you can take 3 seconds off your sprint. It's in the off season when you can improve your jump shot. It's in the off season when you can improve. There's so many, your conditioning can grow in the off season. So we have to learn how to thank God for our sabbaticals. We got to thank God for those slower seasons because it allows us to begin to start to cultivate other things that he's asked us to do to help us grow, build, and scale.
Yes, yes, yes. Look, I know you're my bro now because I dropped 48 pounds. Just launched my new website last week.
Oh, it's
and when
sick.
Hey, oh, you like
I
it?
saw it yesterday, sis. I saw it yesterday. I was so mad. I was disgusted. I was about to take my whole phone and throw it through this thing and hit you in the forehead. I'm so mad at you.
Did you see the landing deck? I was like, oh, this gonna be a good one. And you know, when you said that, bro, when COVID hit and Disney World had to shut down, and they never shut down, never.
That part.
They totally retooled everything and came out even better than they were before. So right. I just appreciate you pouring into me and us today because I'm gonna take it personal. You poured into me today, and it was so good. Thank you. I know Jakara had a question. Thank you.
I did. Dr. Dell, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for being my mentor, my coach, my everything, and my all. Y'all, I love Dr. D. I've been under his tutelage for a little bit now as a student, across the stage, SBM. Oh my gosh. I do have a couple of questions from folks who couldn't be here today and thought that, hey, this is recorded. We want to make sure we get it on the recording. But for those who are not keynote speakers, they use speaking to get folks into their coaching programs or to buy their books. And one person said they loved your book, Speaking into or Shifting into a Higher Gear. How can they use speaking in a much more efficient way to get folks into their programs? Do webinars work? Should they be focusing on keynotes and then bringing people in? So any thoughts you have on that?
So I believe in this day and age, all things work if you work them. So webinars still work if you work them. Challenges still work if you work them. Masterclasses still work if you work them. So don't believe people who say, oh, that doesn't work anymore. That's that person's lens that they're seeing it through. I know plenty of people in a lot of different spaces that are completely disconnected from NSA, completely disconnected from the keynote world. And I'm telling you, they're making serious bank from challenges, from masterclasses, from webinars, from all these other things. So yes, those tools work. If your audience resonates with you, those tools, and you can deliver your coaching, your teaching, your mentoring, your training, yes, school works. Yes, apps work. All these things are different modalities. They're just different learning modalities through which people consume content, whether it's nano content, nano learning through online courses or LinkedIn learning or fill in the blank, right? People consume in so many different ways. So whatever we have to do to make sure that our content is bite-sizable enough and digestible enough to our audience, yes, that modality works. So let's get out of any kind of thinking that says, oh, that doesn't work anymore, because that just means that from the lens that you're looking at it, it might not work. But trust me, there's other people making plenty of money doing it. So yes, webinars work. Yes, challenges work. Yes, you should be using your communication to whether it's digitally or whether it's physical. Both digital and physical products are still selling. Digital and physical, synchronous and asynchronous training is still working. So all the things are still working. Let's work the things and find the modality that's going to work best for us and what's going to serve our customers the best. Great question, Jakara. And I'm so Jakara, I'm so proud of you, child. I mean, when I tell you Jakara has been to everything, Crush the Stage, Speaking Business Mastery. She's served me at my Full Throttle conference. She's spoken at Full Throttle. She's trained my students before. I mean, just a phenomenal corporate leader and phenomenal.
I've not gone through. I've looked at a few just to see if it looks like it's right. I think Copilot did it. So.
So that I don't know who that was, but anyway, I was just praising you, Jakara.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you for all the questions. We have Aaliyah, then Ken. There we go.
Hey, Aaliyah.
Hello. Thank you so much for all of the gems that you've been dropping. I first got associated with the organization through Jakara. She's actually one of my coworkers, and she's spoken on my panel a few years ago. And then I took the 3-day pitch challenge with Lethia, and we also had a one-on-one call, and it was really beneficial. And so now that I am really just looking to monetize my speaking business, I'm trying to figure out, like, because you were mentioning, right? Like, I guess some coaches are at a $20,000 rate, but for someone who's a beginner that doesn't necessarily have $20,000 available to them to invest, I guess, what do you recommend for beginners who need more of a cost-efficient coaching?
So what's the goal? What are you seeking to do? Are you trying to develop your speaking? Are you trying to develop the business side, the presentation skill side? What are you trying to cultivate?
The business side.
Okay. So one of the first things I would encourage you to do is if you're like super budget conscious, invest in all the great books, right? There's some great books out there that are fantastic on helping you build a speaking business, helping you cultivate a speaking business. Jane Atkinson wrote a great book called The Epic Keynote. There's a lot of great books on just Lewis Kramer has a fantastic book on the speaking business. There's a lot of great tools, even within NSA. If you're a member of NSA, the NSA Vault has tons of resources, videos, sessions from multiple NSA influence conferences, right? Leverage the Vault. There's so much in there from past conferences and from guest experts who can teach you elements of the business. I'm not sure what specific aspect, whether it's branding or marketing, but leverage the resources within the NSA Vault. Because you're talking about experts who even resources within the BNSA Vault, right? So take advantage of all those resources, implement everything, and then begin to start building it into your business. And then when you build it into your business and you start getting some of the revenue back, then say, okay, this is the mentor, this is the coach that I really want to work with and serve under. It's time to make that investment. But keep this in mind, it's never going to be comfortable when you make that investment. And no matter what price point, I'd love to tell you that 95% of the time when it was time for me to invest in my speaking and coaching career, I just had the funds just sitting there and I could just write a check. Most of the time when those opportunities happen, no, it wasn't there. I had to put it on a credit card. I had to go through a financing company. I had to do something to invest at the level I desired. Here's the reason why. I would rather get with the right coach the first time and pay more money than I'm comfortable with, but I have the right coach and mentor so I can get a bigger, greater return than spend 8 years not knowing how to do something. And I'm paying the cost of the ignorance tax of not knowing how to do it. Does that make sense? So at the end of the day, here's the truth. All of us pay. We all pay, whether we know it or not. And one of the examples that I like to use is, let's just take $500,000. Ask yourself this question. Okay, last year, did my business make $500,000? If the answer is no, then you might say, okay, cool. How much did my business make last year? Let's say your business made $200,000. Dope. But with the same effort, would you have liked to have made $500,000? If the answer to that question is yes, then that means that you paid a tax of $300,000 last year because you didn't know how to make 500,000.
Mm-hmm.
So the question becomes, okay, is it worth the 20 grand to learn how to make the 500,000? Or do I pay the ignorance tax of the 300,000 because I didn't invest to learn how to do it? At the end of the day, everybody pays. So the question becomes, which tax am I paying? Am I going to pay the tuition to learn, or am I going to pay the tax because I didn't invest to learn? But everybody pays, whether you want to acknowledge it or not. So the answer to your question, sis, is take advantage of all the YouTube videos, take advantage of all the stuff that's in the NSA Vault, read all the great books, do all those things, implement what you learn from that stuff, and let the revenue from that give you the seed money that you need to invest in bigger things. But just know, Lethia can attest to this, Jakara can attest to this, Fly Girl can attest to this. There's going to be investments that you're going to make that are not going to be comfortable.
Right.
And no matter how much you saved and set aside, it's not going to be comfortable. That seed is going to hurt. But if you implement, and that's almost, it's like the cost. Oh my gosh. So 2 months ago, I had a chance to speak for Bishop Jakes at this huge conference that he was hosting. He was on the front row, had a chance to hear me speak. It was ridiculous. It was a phenomenal moment. One of the things that he said that bothered me, and it still bothers me to this day, He said, the blessing that you get for slaying a giant on level 1 is you get to slay a giant on level 2.
Mm-hmm.
He said, so the reward for beating an enemy is a bigger enemy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's what's funny, y'all. Let's go back to Mario Brothers. We remember this back in Mario Brothers, right? Every time, or Donkey Kong, y'all. Every time you beat a monster at one level, what did it do? It qualified you to take on a monster at a different level. So what am I trying to say to you guys? No matter how high we climb, there's going to be another challenge. There's going to be another investment. There's going to be another opportunity for us to grow and scale. And it's not always going to be comfortable. So as a new speaker, what I admonish you to do is don't let the price tags get in the way of what it is that you desire to do. If you know that you need to learn from this person and you've answered all 4 of those questions and you said, listen, I answered those 4 questions. I didn't have the money when I had to go work with Les, but I found it. I didn't have the money when it was time to go work with Dr. Willie, but I found it. I didn't. So, and here's the truth, y'all. We can afford whatever we say we afford, right? It's amazing how we can make, you know, I use this example in audiences all the time. I put up like $50,000 and I'll say, okay, if you needed a surgery this week that costs $50,000, what are 25 ways you would do to get $50,000? And I ask the audience those questions and they come up with like 30 different things that they would do to come up with $50,000 out of nowhere. And at the end of me writing all this on a big flip chart, Lethea, you know the number one thing I say to the audience? I say, not a single one of you all said you wouldn't do the procedure. Not a single one of you all said you couldn't afford it. I gave you a scenario. $50,000, you have to have a procedure done in a week. How would you raise the 50 grand? And every one of y'all came up with a solution, but none of y'all said I wouldn't do the procedure. Mm-hmm. Which is proof of the fact that if we want to find a way, we will find a way. Are y'all with me up in here? Is this resonating? Come on, y'all better get off. Come on to your boy up in here.
You're taking me back.
She's taking me back, right?
So what you're doing also, Dr. Dell, you're giving us the ability to have introspection.
Yes.
Taking a look at what our processes are. And if we have a goal, right? How are you going to get to that goal? Are you going to try to figure it out on your own? Or is there a systematic way to do it, to reach it by proving successful tactics that others like yourself have already been through? So continue.
What I keep thinking about is probably most of the people on this call, there might be 1 or 2 or 3 that don't have a car, but most people on this call have a car, and most people financed that car. And most of those cars are 20, 30, 40K. And most of those cars aren't paying people back unless you're Ubering, but they depreciate it as soon as you drove off the lot. So what is it that you can invest in that is going to be your vehicle that takes you where you want to go? I'm back on mute now.
Come on. Gutsy, let's go. Y'all, the truth. That's the truth, y'all. But you got to be willing to make the investments and you got to be willing to do the work. So whether it's Crush the Stage or whether it's a Gutsy program or a Lethea program or whoever your person is, branding, fill in the blank, at some point you're going to have to be able to make investments to make those quantum leaps in your career. I think YouTube education and all that stuff is great. You'll make some incremental shifts as a result of that. But there are going to be certain investments that you're going to make that are going to give you those quantum leaps in your career. And just knowing when it's time to make those investments and being okay with that. And learning that this is, y'all, we have to be lifelong learners. We really got to be committed to lifelong learning. And that just doesn't mean always have a new book to read. What that means is keeping yourself in the right rooms, keeping yourself in the right networking spaces, keeping yourself in the right masterminds, having informal masterminds outside of paid masterminds, where you're just sharing best practices with other people that you know, love, and care about. Every mastermind, you ain't got to drop $50,000 or $100,000 for every mastermind. You can create informal masterminds and just idea share and thought partner and help each other out and mutually exchange Rolodexes. Right? These are all ways that you can add value to each other, but you got to be around other people. Scripture says iron sharpens iron, but here's the problem. Iron can only sharpen iron when iron is around iron. Some of y'all are rubbing up against plastic and you wonder why you're not getting sharp. You're rubbing up against vinyl or wood and you're not getting sharp. Iron must rub up against another iron in order for it to be sharp.
Amen.
So stop Stop rubbing your iron up against somebody else's wood and wondering why you're not getting sharp. I'll wait for 10 of y'all.
Absolutely.
You know, Dr. Dell, many of us, when we're talking, I hear people talk and they think they have a profitability problem, but based on what you taught us today, they really have a point of view problem. So shifting their point of view is the way to fix what they think is their profitability problem.
Exactly. If I can tag team with you on that one, sis, here's the truth, right? I coach a lot of authors. I tell this to authors all the time. You don't have writer's block. You don't believe enough in your book. It's quiet. Here, let me explain what I mean by that. If I was to say, if you knew that 10,000 people were going to buy your book the nanosecond your book came out, you would write that book in 3 to 6 months. But because you don't know who all is going to buy your book, and on some level you have some imposter syndrome around who's going to buy your book, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just something you need to coach through and work through. At the end of the day, you have a belief problem. So the reason why it's taken you 2 years to write that book is not because of writer's block. It's because of a belief block. If you knew that 10,000 people were waiting to buy that book, you would write it in 3 to 6 months, you'd be done, and you would move on to the next project. So it's not so much, hey, I don't know what words to put together. It's not that. It's a belief issue. So let's deal with the belief part first. Let's deal with the identity part first. Shifting your identity to become someone who's committed to producing best-selling content, right? And also remember this, write this down, family. Don't create from a place that says I'm trying to become. Create from a place that says I am. Two completely different places. I need y'all to catch this, family.
Present tense. Present tense.
Don't see a lot of us. So when you sit down to write your next book, you shouldn't be typing saying, oh man, I hope that this is good enough to one day be considered bestseller material. No, that's writing from a place that says I'm trying to be, right? I want you to write from a place that says I am, because you're made in the image and likeness of the great I am. So since you're made in the image and likeness of the great I am a best-selling author already. So because I'm a best-selling author, whatever comes from me is already a bestseller. We're just waiting for social media to catch up to our reality. Am I talking to 15 of y'all? Come on, somebody.
Good. That's good. That's good.
You're tracking.
Let's create from I am, not I'm trying to be. Because when you create from I'm trying to be, it's aspirational energy. When you create from I am, there's a certainness, there's an unapologeticness, there's a strength, there's a courage, there's a tenacity, there's a certainty there. Because it's not about trying to get to a place. I already am at a place. Simba already was king. All he had to do was step into what he was already born into. He didn't have to go on LinkedIn. He didn't have to go on no interviews to be considered whether he would be. He was born king.
Excellent.
You and I were born the king and queen of our own Pride Rock. We have to own it. And I teach this all the time, all across the world, but NSA, I need y'all, BNSA specifically, I need y'all to really get this. The lion is the king of the jungle, even though it has a lot of other disqualifying characteristics about itself that don't qualify it to be a king. The lion is not the tallest animal in the jungle.
Or the fastest.
It's not the fastest. The cheetahs got him on the speed. The hippopotamus has him on weight and biting power. The ant has him on popularity. The snake has him on flexibility. The monkey has him on intelligence. The giraffe has him on height. There's a lot of other animals that have a whole lot of other qualifications so in other words, yes, there are speakers out there that have a bigger database than you. Yes, there are speakers out there that have a bigger social media ad budget than you. Come on, Lethea. Yes, there are speakers out there that have been doing it longer than you. Yes, there are speakers out there that have been going to the convention more times than you have. Yes, there are speakers out there that have a bigger LinkedIn account than you. Yes, there are people out there that have written 10 more books than you've written. But in spite of all that, the lion is still the king of the jungle because it looks at all those other animals as one word, lunch. It looks at those other animals as one word, a meal, a snack. When I take you down, I feed my family for a week. So in spite of my limitations, I'm still the king, and king is gender neutral of my own Pride Rock. So I triple dog dare you to own your own space. Own your own space in this industry. Carve out a niche for yourself to where nobody can do what you do like you do it.
Love it, love it. So in the balance of time, we've got 3 more questions that we're going to allow our attendees to ask. And then we're going to always do what we do and get ready. We're going to be asking for a few testimonials. All right. So a few testimonials to say what positive insights that you've taken away from Dr. Dell today. So we're going to go with Ken, then Emma, and then Brittany. All right. In that order.
Thank you. First of all, I just want to say thank you, Lethea and Jason, for having this group. I'm saddened that it's only 20, but there'll be many people that'll see the presentation because you're fantastic, Dr. McNeill. I mean, fantastic. Couple things that resonate with me. I'm just going to ask my little one question. What resonated with me, I heard on this same group a couple months ago, Dr. Will Moreland speak about volunteering early on. And then to hear that come from you, I'm like, whoa, that's the second time I've heard about volunteering early or any time within your career. So thank you for sharing that. And just the humility to volunteer is literally as a grown adult Black man. Yeah. That is something that I can talk about a little more, maybe offline, about our community and that. The other thing I really resonated with was deep work. There's a book by Cal Newport called Deep Work, and it's thinking vertically, thinking deep as opposed to shallow and horizontal. Thank you for sharing that. I was going to ask you a question about mentoring, but I'd rather ask you a question. We talk a lot about the positives, and you've talked a lot about the things to do. There's a book that I love called The Signal and the Noise. And there's a lot of noise in this industry. At least I've seen a lot of noise. Could you just indicate some of the noise that you see presently that you should stay on point, stay on the signal, and diminish or ignore the noise? If you could just speak to the noise that's in this industry.
There's a lot. So I talk about this all the time, and I know this is the frustration for myself. Those of us who have been doing this a long time, Lethea, Fly Girl, so many of us who have been at this for a minute share the same frustration. The speaking industry is unregulated. So because the speaking industry is unregulated, any and everybody can come out and call themselves a speaker. Any and everybody can call themselves. Every title that's on your business card right now, anybody, any Joe Schmo from off the street can use those same titles. It's not like the law profession where you got to pass the bar. It's not like the medical profession where you got to do residency, right? In the speaking world, anybody can call themselves a speaker. So our industry is saturated and oversaturated with wannabes. It just is. And so we have to be really intentional with our marketing and our branding to stand out from the foolishness. Does that make sense? Because there's a lot of noise online. To your point, Ken, a lot of noise online. Everything is a Lamborghini or a mansion or it's all about how big your following is. And it's all about, there's so much smoke and mirrors, and everybody's a speaker coach and everybody can give you advice on how to do it. And they don't, watch this. 80% of the people out there that are hawking speaker training programs aren't even speakers. They don't even do this for a profession. They don't even do it for a living. They're good at marketing, but they're not even speakers. And I've seen so many people get burned because they're preying off of your aspiration. So that's why I admonish you, and Jakara and Lethea and others can tell you, when you coach with me, I make my students run their big purchases by me. I don't let my students spend over a certain dollar amount without them running those by me, because y'all, this is a very lucrative industry, but if you're not careful, you can spend a lot of money on stuff that you don't need to invest money in because it's not really appropriate for your business, because you were just hoodwinked into the next thing, the next shiny object syndrome. So there's a lot, Ken, to your point, there's a lot of noise out there. And you got to be willing to know how to click that stuff off and say, okay, what does it take to get these clients to say yes to me, to say yes to my business, to say yes to my brand, to say yes to my opportunity? You got to know what it is it takes to get you paid, get you chosen over someone else. And here's one thing, I've been doing this full-time 23 years. I have been chosen a zillion times, and I've had a zillion conversations with clients, and I have never to this day talked down about another speaker to get a gig. You don't have to down talk anybody else to be chosen. When clients tell me that they're looking at 4 and 5 other speakers, I say, fantastic. Let me tell you 3 things about the Dr. Delatorro distinction that I think will help you in your decision making. All I do is highlight a few things that make us unique. I've never once, and I don't need to say anything negative about another speaker in order to get, I believe that all of us can make $25 million speaking without taking a nickel out of anybody else's pocket. That's called abundance. Mm-hmm. But you also got to be around people who have that abundance mindset. So Ken, I hope that's helpful, brother. There's a lot of noise out in the space. There's a lot of noise out in the industry. That's why you want to associate with real. You want to associate with oak trees, people who have longevity. They've proven themselves over time. They've proven themselves. If you can be in business 10, 15, 20 years and still be bringing it in, I mean, you're talking about you've met a legend. If you've met someone who's been in business 10 years and is still thriving, 15 years and is still thriving. So gravitate towards those individuals. Back to you, Jason, or whoever's moderating the questions.
Yes, Emma, you're up. If you want to ask your question now.
Yes. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Delatorro. So first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Mma Eme, and I am a body image confidence speaker and coach. This is my first meeting. I just joined, so I'm so happy that I joined, and this has just been phenomenal to be able to be a part of this meeting, being my very first meeting. I was recommended about BNSA by somebody from the MAP program. So I just got into UPenn for the Master's in Applied Positive Psychology. So to your point, Doctor, another way for me to elevate what I'm doing to understand the science behind shifting people's mindset from a negative body image to a positive. So getting into UPenn has been scary because I don't know how I'm going to fund it, but I'm so glad about the opportunity and the potential. I guess my question would be, in this season of learning, what are some other things now, specifically the little that you know about me, that I could, as I start in 3 weeks, some things that you would suggest I focus on? And I definitely want to come under your mentorship at some point. But in the meantime, I have just 1 year of this program.
Yes. So you're saying, so your question is, while you're still in the program, what are some other practical things that you could be doing to grow as a speaker? Is that what your question is?
Yes, but also specific things like what mindset should I take into gaining the information and the knowledge that I'm going to get from positive psychology? Because I think one of the things you said was, there are seasons where we're just learning, we're growing, we're sharpening our knife. So what are some maybe strategies for sharpening that knife as I walk into this MAP program?
Right. So when I walked into my neuroscience certification, right, I went in saying, I want this understanding of neuroscience to impact almost of every area of my business. I wanted to impact how I coach. I wanted to impact how I keynote. I wanted to impact how I understand my teams, how I lead my teams. I wanted to make me a better father. I wanted to make me a better friend, because by leveraging and understanding more about the way the brain works and the way the brain functions, I can use it in so many different modalities. So with positive psychology, it's the same with you. I would go into it saying, hey, I want my new level of understanding around positive psychology or artificial intelligence or cryptocurrency to influence X, Y, and Z. Does that make sense? So what I want to admonish you to do is say, okay, cool. I want it to influence me in all these different ways, and be open to how I can influence you in all those ways. And then all the exercises and homework and all the things that you are going to be assigned as you go through this program, apply it to your speaking career. So every assignment that you get from these syllabuses and stuff like that, as you go throughout this stuff, everything that I did when I was going through my neuroscience certification, I applied it. I did neuroscience through the lens of being a professional speaker and a professional speaking mentor and coach to speakers. I'm very clear that God's anointed me to influence influencers. So that's what I do. And 90% of my clients traditionally have been older than I have. So I've had to embrace the fact that even though I'm younger in age, God gave me wisdom beyond my years. Does that make sense? And you have to do the same. Footnote to everybody that's watching on this call. There are things you're going to have to embrace about yourself and get over about yourself so that you can get into your greatness. Get clear about what those things are and get over them. For me, I'm not the tallest dude on the planet. I'm 5'8.5", 5'9", right? I'm not the tallest dude on the planet, right? I had to get over that. I started this industry young. I had to get over that. I'm Black. I had to get over that, right? I've done this industry, the majority of my industry, without a significant predominant romantic partner, right? I've dated and been married and divorced, but I have not had like a long-term partner in my speaking career, like 30, 40 years, like a lot of my contemporaries have, right? So I've had to get over that. Does that make sense? So I've had to caregive a lot in my speaking career. I had to caregive for my mom for 4 years before she passed, caregiving for 2.5 years with my dad in the condition that he's in right now. That's just been a part of the cross I've had to bear. Does that make sense? So we all have things that we got to get over to get into our greatness.
Yes. Thank you for pointing that out. That makes perfect sense because I'm one of those, a lot of the stories when I speak is built around losing my role in corporate America, being 8 months pregnant. And so that just hits home with a lot of women because that's my audience. That's where God has led me. And so what you said just makes perfect sense. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Let's go. Absolutely an honor.
Thank you.
Okay, Brittany, if you have a question, you're welcome.
Thank you, Jason, Lethea, and it's great to see everyone. Thank you, Dr. Dale. Unmatched excellence were the words that I heard last week when I was talking to Liz J. Simpson and she brought you up. So, Dr. Dale, your reputation certainly precedes you. Liz is like a sister to me. I love her. And so I know we share that in common. My question for you is around business development. So I own a company called Career Thrivers. Going on 5.5 years. In 2019, I left a 12-year career at Pfizer in sales and marketing to jump out here and do talent development and leadership branding. 98% of our business has been B2B working with corporations. And so I'm curious, speaking has got me in the door, but what are some things that you are seeing presently to land and expand and get out of direct service delivery so that you can be that engine for business development? So right now I have a team of coaches and it's been great. I'm just looking for a more sustainable way to still provide our services. But after I leave the speaking stage and get the expansion deal started where I'm not the primary in the service delivery.
So part of that's going to come down to like who you train up, making sure that as you're training, as you're doing your train the trainer, as you're downloading your knowledge and expertise into the trainers that are then leading it, it's going to be very important for those trainers to be rock stars. In fact, some of them need to be better than you. You need to be intentional about, because the only way your client is going to be okay with it not being you is if whoever you send is almost better than you. And I know that at first that sounds intimidating to bring on somebody as good, if not better. But if you're going to pull yourself out of it, you got to make sure you have strong trainers that can deliver on your level or even higher. So they said, oh my God, she was incredible. You were awesome, but she was the best. Or you were awesome, but he was incredible. Does that make sense? So being intentional about recruiting top talent for yourself. So that way you're recruiting the trainers that can replace you for these B2B opportunities. And then also maybe even like showing up for the first hour and training the first hour, and then pitching it to your team to train the rest of it. Does that make sense? Like doing some of those, like do a little bit of hand holding to kind of get the client accustomed to, hey, I'm going to win the business. I'm going to win the deal, but I'm only going to be here salt and peppering in and out because I've got more sustainable team members that are going to be your day-to-day go-to individual. So I would make sure that the client goes in with that understanding and that you have developed enough talent on your team that they actually can deliver your stuff even better than you can. And that will begin to slowly allow you to pull away from it and buy your time back.
If I may ask a 20-second follow-up.
Yeah.
Do you have any examples of doing that because in doing that, the assumption is those are also business owners to where it doesn't get murky with like, non-competes, but also because I've had some of that experience and also just, you can't weave in your stuff because we're licensing the Career Thrivers curriculum, but you're a part of this deal to help train. So it's just, I guess I've just been thinking like, it may make more sense to hire full-time in some of those spots so that I don't have as many of those issues. So any guidance there?
All right, and you just said it, but making crystal clear that you have, like, whoever your business attorney is needs to be super, super clear on all your documentations, all your NDAs, all your work for hire agreements, all your licensing agreements, all your certification agreements, arm's length transactions. All that stuff needs to be super, super tight with whoever your business attorney is, so that way, whatever they sign, it's binding. Because you don't want them to be taking your stuff and running, taking your clients and running, taking your ideas and running, all the things. So I would make sure that you have all those things tightened up, buttoned up really good, and that your selection process is strong to where these people want to be a part of your organization long-term, and they're not just here to grab everything that they can and basically use your organization as their training ground and then go and create their own consulting firm that almost looks identical to yours. So I would take some of the mishaps you've had in the past, articulate those to your business attorney to make sure that whoever your business attorney is can draft up the necessary documentation that keeps you and the talent that you're hiring and training safe as you're giving them audiences that they didn't even have to work for.
Thank you.
You're so very welcome.
Oh boy, didn't I tell you this was going to be outstanding? Oh, we are at that hour. But unfortunately, we can't get testimonials today. But I know that there's a lot of takeaways that you've had. Certainly, posted on the Black NSA website, posted on social media, share about what you learned today from Dr. McNeill. On behalf of Black NSA and our leadership board, Dr. McNeill, we just want to just thank you so much for your time today. We really, really appreciate it. Me personally, just being able to reconnect with you after so many years from our time at NSN, and all of you attendees who show up each and every week. We want to acknowledge your presence and thank you for that. The next mentor is going to be Lenora Billings Harris. Okay, and that's going to be the first Thursday of the month. All right, in September. So look out for that. Again, just really appreciate all of the insight that was shared, all of the questions that were asked were right on point, and I believe we all are going to come away from this mentorship call a better speaker, but more of a plan of action to increase our effectiveness as speakers. So again, thank you all. Appreciate you all.
Jason, I know I said I didn't have any comments to share, but I lied. Two things real quick. I think it would be a great idea. Thanks, Bernice, for recommending this. But if someone is willing to provide a testimonial for us, just a quick 30-second, 60-second, what this session has meant for you, we would love it if you would just stay on. And Jason, are you able to stay on for just a few more moments? I don't know if you're okay. Great. Wonderful. If you could just stay on and just share that testimony, that would be wonderful. And I just want to take a moment and acknowledge we have several new members who are on the call today. So if you are a new member, would you raise your virtual or digital, your physical hand or your virtual hand, so we could just celebrate you? I know Dr. Obiama Martin is a new member. We have Emma. Emma, is it Emma? How do you pronounce your name?
Emma.
Say it one more time.
Emma.
I heard the Emma.
Yes.
Emma. Wonderful.
Yes.
And we have Aaliyah Gibbs, Clestine. It's wonderful to see you all jumping in and just really taking full advantage of what we have to offer you here at Black NSA. So just excited to see you on this call as well. But if you can stay for just a moment, I have to drop for a doctor's appointment, but Jason's going to stay. And all you have to do is just real quickly just share. And if Dr. Dale, you can stay and hear these words, great. If not, we understand you may have something else going on. But if you can stay for just a moment and just share 30 seconds what this call has meant to you, we would greatly appreciate it, because we're going to share that with others so they know not to miss the next time we say Dr. Dale or one of our mentors is showing up for us, okay? And I did post Dr. Dale on Facebook to let people know that you were killing it and they were missing it.
Oh, let's go. I love it.
All right. Wonderful. All right,
All right.
looks like you got a couple of volunteers, Jason. I'm going to drop. You all be blessed and encouraged.
All right. Ladies first, and then we'll go to Keith.
Dr. Dell, just want to say this call has been priceless. This is my first time having the opportunity to listen to you in this format. I have invested in your books. I'm going to take everything that you said and apply it, rinse and repeat over and over again. Thank you for your time. Thank you for every nugget, and looking forward to being mentored by you in the near future.
Thank you so very much.
Thank
Wow.
you. Looks like Keith, your hand is raised.
If he's not ready.
Oh yeah, I'm driving, but they said stay if you were a new member, so I just wanted to honor that request. So I think this presentation was amazing. Dr. Dale, you dropped some information that I believe will be extremely helpful, and looking forward to looking into the things that you're able to provide and see, if those things can help me on my journey. I appreciate your contributions, and I want to thank the Black NSA as well. As I just joined Black NSA, and I see all the valuable things that they're able to provide. I'm looking forward to being part of the organization. So thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Woo-hoo. Thanks so much, Keith. Appreciate that.
All right. Anyone else?
Yep, I'll go. If you haven't had the opportunity to be coached by Dr. Delatorro McNeill II, you're missing the boat. As a veteran speaker, being in this industry for about 18 years and recently inducted to the Speaker Hall of Fame, I sat on this call with Dr. Dell, and he dropped nugget after nugget, tactic after tactic. I mean, I can't even say enough. I'm leaving this call today with tangible steps that I will be taking in my business of 18 years that I know is going to take me out and make some money. So again, get with Dr. Dell, check out his videos. If he's the right coach for you, hire him. Don't mess around. Don't mess around with your business. Don't mess around with your life. Don't mess around with your legacy. Let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Remarkable. Thank you so much, Vernice. Absolutely.
Love it.
I would love to leave one as well. Well, first of all, this was my very, very first meeting, and I consider myself blessed to have joined this first meeting and have Dr. McNeill as the main speaker. I learned so much in terms of being able to take away very applicable things to the stage that I'm in, which, like he said, sharpening myself to prepare for the future. There is so much that I learned in this 90 minutes than I probably have learned in other programs that I'm in and that I'm currently a part of. And I'm really looking forward to the opportunity to work more with Dr. McNeill in the near future. I thank you for his patience and his insights that are, again, very applicable to where I am in my journey of speaking.
Right. Thank you.
Hey, Jason, I'll leave one. You get that? Hey, Dr. Dale, hey, this thing was off the chain in this sense. One, everything you said was in kingdom alignment. All right, for me and those who know me, in a conversation, you're going to end up talking about the word at some point. Right. And so when I say kingdom alignment, there was nothing that you said that was out of line with what I understand the will of our Father is for us. First thing. Second thing, from a speaker, content rich, packed end to end, and 100% relevant. See, some people have content, but if the content isn't relevant for what I'm trying to do, where I'm trying to get, then it loses its savor. There was no point during this session when you could check out. There was no point during this conversation when you could go get a cup of coffee without missing something.
Yes, sir.
And that is, again, you thought, I hadn't talked to you about this, but you were speaking from the overflow. If we gave you 30 more minutes, you still have an hour or 2 hours worth of content to get through, that you still have to leave something on the table. And that comes from that breadth of experience. I quoted there, you said, hey, I asked a question, what's in your bucket? When it comes to analogies and references and things, the breadth of your experience, not only experientially, but intentionally when you go get certifications.
Yes, sir.
And now you can come back and make things relevant, put it in context, et cetera, et cetera. So I applaud you. It was a master class on how to do the doggone thing. God bless.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate that, Wayman. Fantastic.
I would actually shoot myself, man, if I did not come on here and give you, Dr. Dale, your flowers. David Lawhorn here. I want to tell you a story that you would not remember, but I want to tell you about impact. The first time I ever walked into an NSA Georgia chapter meeting, you were the guest speaker. I walked in as a guest, and after hearing you, man, listen, they got my credit card without even a fight. Talk about impact. Talk about just coming out of my first influence and realizing, as great as that influence was, there was one personality that wasn't in the room, and that was yourself. To then come here today and get a complete masterclass on mindset, on strategies, on technique, on the current status of this game that we're in, on the pitfalls to look out for, and the things to immediately leave this room, leave this talk, and go out and implement. So like you said, if you're on this call, and if you walk out of here and you don't get it, it's not because of a teacher. Thank you, sir, for all you bought. Thank you for who you are. At some point, I would get down to Florida and spend some time with you. But in the meantime, amazing.
Thank you, fam. That means a lot to me. And thank you for letting me know you missed me at Influence. I missed you guys as well, for sure. But I will definitely be back next year. I always make sure that I make it. But this year was just a little bit challenging with the caregiving for my dad. But we will definitely be back in the building for sure next year. Vernice knows we're always at Influence. That's the good thing. It's like, I feel like in our community, we stay visible. We don't just come and get our awards and then leave. We stay visible, we stay present. I knew I couldn't be at Influence, but I knew I wanted to be here to show up for my BNSA family. And so you guys know you can always count on me, always reach out. I will do whatever it takes to make sure that I'm adding value to my BNSA family. That's what it's all about.
Love that. My last ultimate compliment. In order to get into Influence, I joined the national chapter of NSA. They have the bundle, and I finally got access to the vault. The first person I went to find on that vault was your presentation on the main stage
at Influence.
Exactly. Come on now.
Let's go. Yes, sir.
I'm done. I'm done.
Oh man, you watched the powerful one, man. I did. Yes, sir. That was
Thank
great.
You, sir.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, man. It means a lot.
Well, thank you, everyone. And tell another member first Thursday in September.
Let's go.
All right. Have a good day, everyone. Take care.
Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye now.